Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, much like the vast majority of music, plays, painting, movies, etc., contributes to the saying, all art is political. With Willy as a salesman, it reflects real-life economic affairs and human relations. Studies have shown that greed and corruption intertwine, where greedy people are more likely to take bribes, take from shareholders, and divest from corporate social responsibility. The way this ideology perpetuates itself throughout society is not just harmful for its corruption, but the way it gets passed on. As economic contribution is valued, things such as leisure, love, self-expression, and ironically art get left behind. People are viewed less as humans in coexistence, but rather workers and assets separated by class. If someone's worth is defined by what they produce, what happens if they cannot produce anymore? Miller challenges us to consider the society we live in, the norms, the values, the profession. In response to this, my creative component is a poem written from the perspective of Willy Loman, complementary to my chosen passage. While the passage itself illustrates how Willy is affected from losing his job, creating a poem written in first-person narration creates a greater and direct understanding of the situation a character is in. It clarifies his theoretical internalized feelings and how the capitalistic ideals have manifested onto him. With this, and my integration of various movie clips, I plan to emphasize the relevance of Miller's work in modern society. Willy's downfall is not contemporary to 1940s America, it is still deeply relevant to this day. Ultimately, this goes to show how people are recognized less as people, but as producers of money instead. We live in a world that tells us to be successful, but what defines success is what makes it so elusive. Is it graduating? Is it love? Is it old age? Is it money? Yet, the systems that tell us to be successful already seem to know the answer. We are valued for our productivity. Such an idea is presented in Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller, especially in the following passage. This passage occurs after Willy is fired and talks to Charlie. Here, Willy admits that he had lost his job. With this, Arthur Miller's symbolism of Willy as a salesman, metaphor of Willy's attitudes towards capitalism, and juxtaposition between Willy and Charlie's dynamic reveals how a capitalist society commodifies individual identity into monetary value, further suggesting that people are often valued for their productivity rather than their intrinsic worth. As for my creative component, this is my poem written from Willy's perspective after his conversation with Charlie, titled I Am a Salesman. I am a salesman, well liked by many, but only if I can earn the pretty penny. If only I were free, no Howard in my hair, no price attached to me, no buyers waiting there. Why should I even bother working from day to night? Hopefully my son might work with Bill Oliver. But Charlie and Bernard, how are they so much better? Perhaps we'll play tennis together. I thought I worked hard. Have I not been enough? Am I not well liked? With a car worn with rust, worth more dead than alive. I am a salesman. I am nothing but what I sell. I'll die for my family then, and must drive all the way to hell. My poem depicts Willy's deteriorating mental state after he has lost his job, where Willy's rhetorical questions reveal how the capitalist world affects Willy after being fired. The repetition of I am a salesman represents how being a salesman is his entire identity. However, there stands this contrast in how he shifts from acknowledging that he is well-liked to being essentially nothing but a worker. Numerous lines in the poem parallel with the passage, with mentions to Howard, his son's endeavor with Bill Oliver, playing tennis with Bernard, being well-liked, and the line worth more dead than alive. Overall, this poem reflects how people are commodified into economic value, as Willy reflects on being fired, being viewed as an asset, and how death is the only way he can be deemed useful.
I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Greed, as a core theme to Death of a Salesman, finds itself to be an unstoppable force in real life. In the context of money, this insatiable desire to keep on gaining and gaining affects relationships, ideologies, and beliefs between people. This ties into the American dream, which suggests that anyone in America would have the freedom and opportunities to be successful. It is often said that greed is what killed the American dream, as the desire for more money by higher authorities hinders the ability for newcomers to prosper. Arthur Miller covers this destructive and evil nature of money through Willy Loman and his titular role as a salesman. The only thing you got in this world is what you can sell, and the funny thing is that you're a salesman and you don't know that. Willy, as a salesman, is symbolic of the average American trying to make it in post-World War II, post-Great Depression America. His ironic inability to recognize that being a salesman is all he has symbolizes this illusion of the American dream, and how many Americans don't reach it. Overall, it serves as a metaphor for how human worth is often reduced down to monetary value. That is, a person's value is often based on how economically proficient they are, especially to businesses, because money is power in their eyes. Why must everybody like you? Who liked J.P. Morgan? Was he impressive? In a Turkish bath, he'd look like a butcher, but with his pockets on, he was very well liked. Miller's allusion to J.P. Morgan contrasts Willy to a figure who got their fame from economic success rather than likability. This is symbolic of the hypocrisy of society and how one's financial status is often judged over the personality. By suggesting Morgan would seem ordinary in a Turkish bath, Charlie states the reality that Willy can be ordinary and successful. This reflects the overarching idea of how one's economic worth is valued over their individual identities. Willy, as a failing salesman, falls in between this gap of wanting to reach success, yet falling flat. This depicts the American dream and greed as something that harms the lives of those who are not already successful, as it builds a false sense of freedom that is broken down by the reality of the capitalist society that burdens them. The rich only get richer. Moreover, envy causes people to measure themselves against others instead of valuing one's own achievements. Though the American dream promises equal opportunity, capitalist societies often create competition and dissatisfaction instead. While envy fuels ambition, it equally erodes one's self-worth. Will is deluded and constantly sticks to the capitalist ideology of measuring success based on charisma and wealth, hindering him from being a father and a husband. I always felt that if a man was oppressive and well-liked, that nothing... Willy equating being well-liked to success is a metaphor for the American dream, and how success seemingly comes easy. Charlie's interjection acts as the reality that charisma doesn't get anyone anywhere, it is solely financial success. Miller's choice of doing so showcases Willy's transformation from valuing external validation to valuing making money. Something as elusive as the American dream is unrealistic because of how wealthy people are already valued over others. After all the highways and the trains and the appointments and the years, you end up worth more dead than alive. Miller uses the word appointments as a metaphor to reflect Willy's mental state, where Willy views his death as freedom, not something scary, bureaucratic, and optional like an appointment. As economic worth is central to the play, the choice of diction in worth incites this question of what humans' worth really is, and how people undervalue each other's intrinsic worth. After his inability to make ends meet for his family, Willy's desire to be successful fails and results in his downfall instead. This continues to reflect that the capitalistic nature of America harms their citizens more often than not, as the wealthy benefit from the way it prioritizes them. Alongside envy and greed, pride contributes to Willy's inability to provide for his family, as his arrogance prevents him from admitting when he is wrong. Pride is especially prevalent in the hostile business world, where pride and envy both stem from greed. Juxtaposition serves to be very important in contrasting between the lives of Willy and Charley, as their differences create an internalized dissatisfaction from Willy, given the economic hardships of the 1940s. I can't work for you, that's all. Don't ask me why. You've been jealous of me all your life, you damn fool. Miller juxtaposes Willy's arrogance with Charlie's generosity to underscore how they look out for each other despite their unequal success, suggesting human relationships overcome financial differences. In a world centered around money, people often have to rely on each other for support rather than the government that set it up. Additionally, Charlie resorting to money is symbolic of power, as if it is a solution for everything. This is reflective of how society is dependent on money. If you don't earn it, you're left behind. Apologize to Bernard for me when you see him. Wish me luck, Charlie. You saw Bill all over today. Good luck. Charlie wishing Willy good luck juxtaposes with his earlier anger towards Willy's arrogance. This is significant as Willy starts to idolize Charlie and Bernard as benchmarks of success for him and his sons. Miller's juxtaposition between anger and consolation reflects a transformation from being arrogant to accepting that he is just an asset in the business world. Here, juxtaposition creates a contrast between Willy and Bernard's life, illustrating how a capitalist society creates divides between socioeconomic classes. Thus, Willy grows to accept that he is not apt for the job anymore, and that the future is in the hands of his sons. To conclude, Arthur Miller's use of symbolism, metaphor, and juxtaposition in this passage from Death of a Salesman illustrates how a capitalist society erases one's identity, and it views people as pawns in the game of business instead. Thus, this suggests people are valued for their usefulness, not their intrinsic worth and established personality. Willy's realization that he is worth more dead than alive becomes the inevitable reality of a world that values what one can sell over who one truly is. Miller uses this to illustrate how the pursuit of the American dream is not just misleading, but inherently detrimental in the process. We live in a world that tells us to be successful, but success measured by economic worth is not success at all.